How many people here, kind of in the last 2 days, have experienced unsafe road users on the street? Okay, quite a few of you. Is it something that you observe quite frequently? Yeah? How many people here are unsafe road users yourselves? It can't be me, it must be somebody else. Right? So it's very interesting because, and that's what I'm going to be talking a bit more about. A lot of us are quite observant about what we think other people should or should not do. Sometimes we are not really that adept at bringing it closer to home. What should I be doing and what shouldn't I be doing? So, I'm going to be looking at different road users. I'm going to play a simple game. I'm going to call it the mind reading game. And then going to look at human behavior and lastly emotional management. It's going to be quite compressed because 10 minutes is a bit short to cover what I want to cover. But these are some of the road users. So pedestrians, all of us have been pedestrians or are pedestrians at one point of time or other. Now this seems to be the norm, isn't it? Everybody has to look down. Even during the presentation, a lot of people were on their smartphones. It's quite a common syndrome, right? Cyclists? Yeah? Some of you are cyclists here. Some of you, of course, have experienced cyclists on the roads. And when you look at these pictures, do you have different thoughts, images or feelings that come to mind? Maybe some are positive, some are negative. We all have impressions, we all have ideas. Heavy vehicles? Some of you may drive heavy vehicles, or most of us have seen. So much construction is going on in Singapore, it's hard not to see these heavy vehicles around. Some people feel scared when they see them on the road. Public transport? I take the cab a lot, so I talk to a lot of taxi drivers. I also hear people talking about taxi drivers. Motorcyclists. I'm not asking you to share your thoughts because we don't have much time, but just register them in your own mind. What about fast cars? I'm going to ask you, what comes to mind when you see a fast car on the road? Speeding, yeah? What else? What about the driver? Lucky, is it? That's what I'm thinking. So why can't it be me, you know? Some people say show off, fast driver, unsafe driver, middle-age crisis. Before we touch a bit about our thoughts, I'm going to do a short mind reading game with you. It's an individual task. I'm going to need you to concentrate. It's not something that you will have to discuss. You just do it within your own mind. Can you all do that? Right? So I want you to, in your own mind, think of a number between 2 to 9. With that number, I want you to multiply it by 9. If your resulting number has 2 digits, add the 2 digits together. The number that you have, I want you to subtract 5. You should come up with a final number after you subtract 5. I want you to match that final number with an alphabet. If your final number is 1, the alphabet is A. Final number is 2, alphabet is B, and so on and so forth. With that alphabet, I want you to think of a country name. In your country name, the second alphabet, think of an animal. All done? Okay, so how many people here for country got Denmark? Most of you. How many people got elephant as an animal? Oh, most of you as well. I'm an excellent mind reader. Or am I a good mind influencer? All of you seem to have gotten the same answer. Anybody know why? No? How do you all end up with you all didn't choose the same number. Sorry? Yes, correct. It's the front part of it when you did your mathematical stuff. Any number, think between 2 to 9, multiply by 9, add the 2 digits together, subtract 5, should come up with 4. If you didn't get 4 at the end, then go back to primary school. Can't help you there. But if you did it correct, you should end up with 4. And so your alphabet, first alphabet should always be D. But after that, it's all up to you. I say think of a country name. There are about 4 countries or 5 countries that start with the letter D. Right? Most people will choose Denmark because of what? What's the reason? Because you've been to Denmark before? No. Most common? Maybe watch soccer? Whatever reason. And then, so if you choose Denmark, second alphabet would be E. That's more interesting. Why did most of you choose elephant? Like, are there a lot of elephants walking on the street in Singapore? No? So why elephant? If now I ask you to think of as many animals as you can starting with E, you come up with a long list. True? Yeah, but why do you go to elephant? Someone tell me. So everybody will know A is for apple, B is for boy, C is for cat, D is for dog, and E is for elephant. So even though it's not something that you see very often, and you shouldn't be unless you're in a different country, you remember it. E is for elephant. All of you have been brainwashed. Education system is very successful. Right, but apart from that, why do we do that? We do that because that's how our mind works. It's the easiest. When you're pressed for time, when you are in a rush, you do things automatically, both behaviorally and mentally. So what comes quickest to you, associate you, and you say it out, and you actually do it. There are good and bad points to it. The good part is that you don't have to consciously think about everything at the same time. Like if you've seen a toddler learn how to walk, they're like, right? Now you shouldn't be like, I need to walk over there. Left foot, right foot, left foot. You don't have to do that anymore because it's automatic. The same thing for road use. How many drivers here drive vehicles, yeah? Do you consciously drive your vehicle or do you unconsciously drive it? Unconsciously, dangerous, unconsciously driving a vehicle. So you're passed out. No, we do it automatically. That's what we mean. And that's where the good and bad part comes in. Good part is that if you're driving a standard route every day, you without thinking, you know which way to go. Correct? You just can be driving and you can be talking to your passengers. You shouldn't be talking on your phone, but you can be talking to your passengers and you still will drive automatically. Actually, in fact, if somebody distracts you and suddenly, hey, where am I now? Because your mind is moving from automatic to conscious. So, good part is that you can do things quicker and sometimes you can multitask. The bad part is that awareness then goes down. You're not doing things in a conscious state. So then again, at the start of the poll, when we talked about, what's the unsafe road use, what's the reason, some people put, distraction. Yeah, most of us are distracted most of the time. By our mobile devices, by our own thoughts. Our own thoughts can distract us. We're not conscious and aware about the things that we are doing. And if you're walking along, it's not such a big deal, but if you're driving a vehicle that could impact your safety, your passenger safety, and the safety of the people around you, then it becomes a big deal. So these are some of the human behaviors I just want to cover, and all of us are guilty about all of these things at one point or time or another. The question is just the frequency. So I don't want you looking at this list and saying, this is terrible how other people behave. No, this is terrible how we behave. Let's take some personal responsibility. Self-serving bias and double standards. Self-serving bias is how when you look at other people doing something wrong, we register it, you shouldn't be doing that, but when you do it, it's alright. When you drive, if you're on the road, it is very common for drivers to always feel that they're driving at the correct speed limit. If someone drives faster than you think, speed demon. You're always in a hurry. What's wrong with this person? They're so unsafe. And if you drive slow and you road hog, so only you are driving at the correct speed limit. So that's a self-serving bias. Everything that you do seems to be right, and everything that everybody else does doesn't seem to be so quite right. And the way we think and our automatic thinking and behavior also leads to traffic schemas and scripts. So what does that mean? It also ties into some of the stereotypes that we have. If you're a road user, and all of you are, in one way or form or other, you look at a pedestrian crossing and then they are on their mobile device, you will have some thoughts about it. This person is not seeing where they are going, it's so unsafe, so dangerous, And then some people, they have, it's even very funny that the double standards are a bit interesting. I've been a passenger in somebody else's car before, and you have a motorcyclist that goes in between and says, so unsafe. They're zooming past and cutting in. It's such unsafe behavior. In the same breath, I've heard the same person saying, when there's a motorcyclist in the center of the lane, saying, hey, why are you hogging the whole lane? Move to the side. Doesn't seem to make sense, right? Almost seems to be double standards. So we all have our own stereotypes of what we see in other people. And the stereotypes come into play in the way we treat other people and the way we behave. Dispositional and situational attribution, that's very interesting as well. Like if you see if you see someone weaving in and out of a lane, what comes to your mind? Someone tell me. You see you're driving along, or you're on a motorcycle, and or you're cycling, you see someone weaving. What comes to mind? And you've all seen that before. What might you think? Reckless driver. Yeah, possible. So there are two different types of thought processes. One is a dispositional attribution. That means we think that the person's behavior has to do with the person. This person is reckless, this person is impulsive, or maybe this person is in a bad mood, or this person is, I don't know, has a death wish, or whatever we think about that person and the way that they're doing things. And another one is a situational attribution. So it could be there's a car, nobody thought maybe the car is malfunctioning or something like that. So when you talk about situational attribution, you think that maybe the person's behavior has to do with the surroundings or the vehicle itself or the mechanism. So if we tend to have a dispositional attribution, we always think that we think negatively. This person is behaving that way because this person is a bad road user. That's why I asked you the question at the start. Are there a lot of you raise your hand because we seem to notice a lot of bad road users out there. Right? We don't think that it could be something else that is causing their behavior. So what's the difference? The difference is it ties into how we choose to behave regarding their behavior. If you have someone that is too slow on the road in front of you, what do? Do you horn? Do you tailgate? I think as mentioned at the start, no pedestrians, people walking on the street don't really do that. If you are walking in a busy street and someone's walking in front of you, it's too slow, you want to walk faster, you don't tailgate the person. You don't do that, right? Somehow or other when you're in a car or vehicle, you do something totally different, out of character. So, one is anonymity, because you think you're protected. Another thing is that we have different schemas. We think that, oh, this person is a terrible road user, I need to teach them a lesson, they are doing something wrong, you're taking away my time, they are doing something to you deliberately. And when we think that way, our behavior will ultimately be negative. Someone told me that, I asked them, how do you deal with people who are zooming around and they are weaving in and out of traffic? And for him, he said it doesn't bother me at all because he has a situational attribution. He always thinks, oh, this person is in a hurry. Actually, his exact words, oh, this person must be rushing to go to the toilet. So whenever I see that, I think that and I don't feel angry at all. Right? So it depends how you look at things. What is our perception? I'm going to talk a bit about the stereotypes later, but the important thing is also unconscious driving, cycling, and walking. All of us are guilty of it. So we looked at many different ways of trying to have better road sense, or trying to make it conducive for us to be a safe road user. But it also takes for us to take a bit more ownership about it. We can have a lot of supportive mechanisms around. We can have good systems, we can have good technology, we can have good road designs, but in the end we have to take personal accountability. If at the end of the day, we still think that, oh, I would want the road to be safer. Now, if all of you behave well, it will be done. And then, if that's my viewpoint, then we're not going to get very far. I think the better question to be asking ourselves is, what can I do to make it happen? If everybody has that personal accountability, then we get somewhere. Because you take ownership. Instead of being a victim, oh, the roads are unsafe, because everybody else is unsafe. Nothing to do with me. Right? And that would be a wrong viewpoint to have. These are the ABCs of most human behavior. It's very easy, okay? Basically, whenever something happens, whatever we see, hear, or smell, there's always a belief system or perception that comes into play. Whenever you react, whenever you notice something on the road, how you choose to react, your consequence at the end of the day, to what you feel, what you think, what you do, has a lot to do with your perception. If we change our beliefs, if we change our perception, our think of how we look at it, we can change our behavior. But it has to be an active choice. You must own it. You must want to do it. I went to, many years ago, on my first trip to Japan, it was very interesting for me. I was there to speak at a conference, and it was very late one night. The roads were empty. Roads were empty. There were no cars on the road. I think you could count maybe 5 minutes or 6 minutes before a car will go past. And there was a traffic light. I was walking my colleague. And then it was a red man. And when the road is empty, middle of the night, it's quiet, and then there's a red man there saying don't walk, how many people would actually cross the road? Like, okay, there's no cars inside, let's cross. Right? Would you do that? Yeah, most people would. We're alongside. Actually, in all honesty, I would have. If there's no cars around, this is a red man, what am I waiting for? Right, it's safe. But there were some Japanese people next to us and they didn't cross. They waited, and so then kind of that put some social pressure on us. So we waited. Okay, when in Rome, follow the Romans. So we waited until the there was no in between waiting for the light. There were no cars, and then everybody walked. They had that kind of a culture. It can be done, but it has to start somewhere. There are many different drivers on the road, and because of the schemas and stereotypes that we have different thoughts about it. What about elderly drivers? If I say elderly driver, I'm sure a lot of stereotypes come to mind. I've seen also, like, you go past, the car is very slow, so, no wonder it's an old driver. Or by now weaving in and out of the road, oh, no wonder it's a woman driver. These women drivers. Or L-plater, or new driver. Some people even say that, it's you have to be careful of learners and new drivers because they know the least and they're least experienced, and so they may be more prone to accidents. Maybe statistically, is that true? I think if you look at the stats, you'll find the converse is true. People who have been driving for a longer period of time will tend to make more mistakes because they have moved from being conscious to unconscious, to automatic and complacency. And so you make more mistakes. And when I do consulting for organizational behavior and organizational safety, it's not uncommon for me to go to handle a crisis where the person who has been doing the job the longest makes the mistake. Complacency. Road rage. So something that's also... How many road users here get angry on the road? I'm not saying that you can beat someone up, but how many get angry on the road? Yeah, right. It happens, and it's very interesting. I mean, we look at road safety as something where we need more education, and education is important. Something where we need more awareness, and awareness is important. But because we are human beings, there's a huge emotive element as well. We like to think. How many people here are more logical minded? Show of hands. You feel you are more logical minded. Yeah? Only a few. Some people are very cautious. You don't dare to answer. The psychologist is asking the question. We like to think that we make logical choices, right? But if you eat out with your family or your friends, something as important as the kind of food that you put in your body, how do you decide what you want to eat? What do you ask your loved ones? Hey, what do you think is the most economical and the healthiest food that we can eat? Do you ask that? What do you ask? What do you want? What do you feel like eating? What do you feel like eating? Oh, today I feel like eating a steak. Right? So you had a harder day at work, you treat yourself to a larger meal. So something as basic and commonplace as that ties in with our feelings. And so road rage is overall how we manage our feelings. A lot of road rage is impulsivity, our impatience, how we treat other people also has to do with how we manage our feelings. Some people think that they can multitask. Reckless driving, drink driving. So these are some aggressive behaviors that people have when they don't manage their emotions very well. We've all seen this. I don't know whether you're guilty of it, but we've all seen it. So there's a converse reaction. When our emotions go up, our logic tends to go down. And we all know when we are very emotional at a particular point of time, we're not thinking very clearly. So that's why road rage also happens. We can't be emotional and logical at the same time. They're very conflicting. So in order to be able to use what we understand to be the right way of road use, we need to be calm. Now that's a wider social issue. how do we manage our emotions? I don't know whether you have time to talk about that today. So I've run out of time. Maybe you can handle question and answer later on. Thank you very much.